Hey everyone, it's Black History Month, but this year someone has decided to bring an old controversial video back into circulation, and now many people are seeing and reacting to it for their first time. This has reignited widespread discussion about anti-Black racism in the furry fandom for the first time since Black Lives Matter protests of 2020. I am not Black, but given the low racial diversity among furry YouTubers relative to other platforms, I've decided to share my loosely related perspective as a trans woman of color on why this video is so upsetting. The video in question is a fursuit music video first shared on Twitter in January 2020. The song used is Back That Thing Up, a hip-hop rap song by artist Juvenile, featuring artists Manny Fresh and Lil Wayne. This late 90s song is used as a backdrop to a lot of twerking, spanking, and a perpetuation of hip-hop and Black stereotypes. Concerns can be drawn once you acknowledge that despite the incomplete information available to the public, most of the participants are not Black and are probably white. If this was not the case, the tone and objectives of the project would be very different. This video highlights inequalities in the community that have not been resolved. The fandom likes to boast its so-called progressive, inclusive environment, but when Black people sincerely embrace their culture, such as by including elements of it in their artwork, they get called ghetto. But when a bunch of non-Black creators come together and create what is essentially a parody, they get praised for it. It's an example of cultural appropriation. It basically says that if you do this, it's unsanitary, but if we do it, it's fun and games. If you do it, people will laugh at you, but if we do it, people will laugh with us. Now take a look at where and when this footage was filmed. Most of these scenes, if not all of them, were recorded at or around conventions. This is ironic because furry conventions do not like hip-hop or rap music. There's a cultural perception that these entire genres are dirty and inappropriate. Even more broadly, there's hesitation to play anything that isn't electronic dance music. A bunch of fursuiters dancing to hip-hop or rap music is something that wouldn't naturally occur on a convention dance floor, and this video inadvertently draws attention to that. Many of the people named in this video are content creators with large platforms. They clearly have connections and influence because a car alone is worth several $100,000. Imagine if even half this much time, funding, and leadership was put towards making the fandom a better place. Imagine if this was instead a campaign about making conventions more inclusive, like Ash Coyote and I discussed in our collaboration video. But nope, instead we get cultural and racial stereotypes. Yay, furries! The music video has certainly gotten more attention this time around, especially more criticism. I think the Black Lives Matter protests from last year have heightened our awareness to racial issues, but also we're tired and losing patience, and not just because of the pandemic. I mentioned before that racial minorities feel excluded from the fandom, and I think some of the pushback to the backlash is affirming our concerns. For example, there's a sentiment that Black Lives Matter is only about Black people getting killed by the police, and some people have expressed that their support starts and ends there. This is sad. It's tolerance rather than acceptance. This is like when a gay person is told that although they don't deserve to be murdered, they shouldn't be allowed to get married. Another sentiment is that because the project's organizer was a non-Black person of color, the video wasn't racist at all. That isn't how the world works. No minority group is a monolith, which is also why pointing out the one known Black fursuiter in the video doesn't refute everyone else's concerns either. And the whole reason why the BIPOC acronym exists is to acknowledge the exceptional challenges that Black and Indigenous people face. The failure to recognize this is similar to how even some cisgender people in the LGBT community do not recognize the unique challenges that trans people face. The furry fandom's demographics are often cited as a reason for why we are supposedly so progressive, but there's a statistic in there that I don't see cited as often. The same studies claiming that the fandom is 80% LGBT also say that the fandom is 80% white, making it less racially diverse than the USA or Canada as a whole. I think the desire to be seen as progressive has made many furries blind to both the privileges they possess and the challenges they do not. I hope my explanation has cleared up why people found the music video so frustrating. Who knows, maybe this controversy will be the one to spark meaningful change. Just kidding, it's probably not going to happen. Have a good week, everyone.